Welcome to Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda. In yesterday's Take 5, I talked about how in Isaiah we have these passages that are about Jesus. Now we're looking at all the Old Testament books and seeing Jesus in them, but Isaiah in particular has so many references, quoted over 85 times in the New Testament, the book of Isaiah, showing us Jesus. And there's a Christmas passage. Last time we spoke about one of the Christmas passages, which was the one that prophesies the virgin birth of Jesus. But then there's another one in Isaiah chapter 9. Isaiah 9 starts off by speaking of the Messiah as being one that would come from Galilee. And that's quoted in the New Testament in Matthew chapter 4, verses 15 and 16. And I love this because when you stop to think about it, there were prophecies in the Old Testament that said the Messiah would come from the city of David, from Bethlehem. And yet there's also prophecies here in Isaiah saying that he would come from Galilee. And for many people, for many years in the Jewish nation, that seemed to be a contradiction in the Word of God. But of course it's not a contradiction, because we know that Jesus was born in Bethlehem, but was raised in Galilee. So again, we're seeing Jesus portrayed here in Isaiah. And then in chapter 9, it goes on into verses 6 and 7, which are those verses that get quoted so often and read out in Christmas carol services, because they speak of the one who was to come, who would be both obviously human, but would also be God. For to us a child is born, and to us a son is given, and the government will be on his shoulders. And he will be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. And of the greatness of his government and peace there will be no end. He will reign on David's throne and over his kingdom, establishing and upholding it with justice and righteousness from that time on and forever. The zeal of the Lord Almighty will accomplish this. So we've got this figure prophesied who's going to be human. I mean, he's a child. He's a son. He's going to sit on the throne of David as a son of David and over his kingdom. So he's human. But he's also God. He's described as being the everlasting Father. He's described as being the Prince of Peace. He's described as having a government and peace, not like any human king, but one of which there will be no end. And he will establish and uphold justice and righteousness forever. Now this quite obviously is so much more than a mere man. This is God. So I can just imagine people before Jesus came along trying to understand Isaiah chapter 9 and saying, who is this figure? Is it a man or is it God? And of course the answer is it's both, because there's only one who could ever fulfill these words, and that is Jesus Christ. Humanity and deity come together in the incarnation. It's no wonder we read this at Christmas, because it is speaking about that uniqueness of Jesus, that he is God's one and only Son, and he is also God the Son. An amazing truth that today we still struggle to understand, and yet it was placed in our Old Testaments for us hundreds of years before Jesus was born through the prophet Isaiah. And that's why I say that Isaiah, perhaps more than any other Old Testament book, reveals to us so much about Jesus. You know, Jesus is the theme of the Bible. He's the theme of the Old Testament and he's the theme of the New Testament, and he's revealed in every book of the Bible. And I thank God that he's revealed to us in the book of Isaiah. God bless you today. Join us again tomorrow for another Take 5, your 5-minute inspirational message from Solid Rock Drogheda.